Joining us now to talk about the coverage of this controversy in Miami, Roland Martin, CNN contributor and the host of Washington Watch on TV One. And in Philadelphia, Jim Garrity, contributing editor at National Review. Jim Garrity, are Megyn Kelly and Bill O'Reilly right that this is an important story that the left-leaning press has minimized?
I think we can say it's an important story. If somebody wants to argue it's not as big as the Gulf Coast, fine, but not everything has to be an epic story. It's a story in which you actually have really good video, in which you can actually let people look at what's going on at that polling place in Philadelphia and make their own decisions.
We just played some really good video.
Yeah, and, it's going to say it's a situation in which, the actions of the Black Panthers themselves are a part of this story, but the bigger story now is what was the DOJ's thinking on it? Why did they suddenly decide after proceeding for a certain time period that there wasn't a case there? And, whistleblowers coming forward with some very serious and very ominous allegations.
And Roland Martin, this is a case of two guys, as I mentioned, at one polling place in Philly. One of them had a billy club. How much coverage, in your view, does it deserve?
It deserves the minimal amount of coverage that it has received on other networks. It all speaks to motive, okay? Fox News clearly has a motive here in terms of how they are hyping this story. And if you want to show real journalism, you just saw it. You actually picked the phone up, called Bob Schieffer, and said, hey, let me ask you, Megyn Kelly didn't do like a real journalist would do, and that is to call Schieffer and ask, why did you do it? What does she do? Go on the air and go with the hype. This is all hype. What Fox wants, they want everyone else to do exactly what we're doing right now. Talk about them. So they get the whole conservative bloggers and radio talk show hosts saying, oh, the liberal media, they won't touch the story, but they also don't want to follow the facts. The best interview I saw this week, Howie, was with Juan Williams.
Let me jump in here. If there were evidence to develop to support this former justice lawyer, J. Christian Adams, who could show that there was a policy change under Attorney General Holder about handling these kinds of voter intimidation cases,
right,
wouldn't that be news?
If there is evidence that is uncovered, where is the evidence? You have one man who has made an allegation. He said himself he doesn't have any of the evidence. You don't have any memo. You don't have any communication. You don't have an email. And so what they've done is they've said, well, this one guy has said it. Okay, be a reporter, Megyn Kelly. Be a news organization, Fox News, and go get the evidence if it exists.
Let me get to Jim.
Well, first of all, two other former DOJ professional prosecutors have said that based on what they could see of this case, it looked like an open and shut, easy decision to go further. I'd also note that the Washington Post, a paper I think you're familiar with, the ombudsman wrote today that the paper had not been covering this story with the depth and the breadth of coverage that it deserves.
No, he scolded the paper for being late in running a single news story on the controversy.
But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal, though. Again, though, Howie, you just heard in terms of, well, two other officials, this open and shut case. Last time I heard open and shut case, George Tenet was saying that about weapons of mass destruction. Does the evidence support somebody's allegation? No. But here's what's also interesting. You have Fox News, who sits here and lambasts the new Black Panther Party, rightfully so, but they, more than any other news organization, have hosted new Black Panther Party 51 times, according to Media Matters, on their own network prior to this. So who has given them more of a platform? They are hyping this for the clear, obvious reasons, and it's not based upon fact. It's nonsense.
Jim Garrity, Abigail Thernstrom, who's a conservative member of the Civil Rights Commission, writes in your magazine that this is small potatoes involving a lunatic fringe group. That would seem to argue that it doesn't deserve much media attention.
She's a nice lady, but I think in this case she's mistaken. She says that they have not produced any evidence of a person being intimidated, but that's actually not the standard under the law. Under the law, you don't necessarily have to prove intent, and you don't have to prove produce a intimidated voter. All you have to demonstrate is that the behavior would be considered intimidating to a reasonable voter. Now, in this case, a lot of cases, it's a he said versus she said, but in this case, we have the videotape. So you can just play the videotape.
Did she also
Notice I'm letting Roland speak.
History?
It's a rare occasion on this program.
Jim, Roland Martin,
let me
just pick up a point about Fox. Roland Martin says Fox News is hyping this story. What say you about Fox's role?
Though I knew that every one of the 50-some occasions that's been on, does it worthwhile? I guess it's debatable, but in the end, this is a real, I think people say there's at least some story worth covering there, and every other network has done none. I think Fox is closer to what it should be covered.
Well, it's not true that everyone's network has done none, because as I mentioned in the introduction, J. Christian Adams, the whistleblower, has been interviewed on CNN.
CNN has done one. You're correct. The other, primetime network news have not done items. That's
But again, but it's nonsense. First of all, Abigail also has said in the history you've had 3 cases successfully prosecuted on voter intimidation. So you have to meet a higher standard. And so again, these are facts that you simply want to dismiss. The reality is Fox has a clear objective here, and that is to want to drive the agenda. And what happens is other media outlets are so afraid, like, oh, I'm getting criticized. This is when you say, look, if you guys want to hype it, go right ahead.
But
Have fun.
Roland, how do you know? How do you know, Roland, that Fox has a clear objective? What do you base that on?
Oh, come on, Howie. Here's the deal. If you go study the 51 appearances of the new Black Panther Party,
that's over a number of years.
A fringe group that has no influence whatsoever, why are you putting them on the air if they are so racist and so vile and so sick and so crazy? Why? 51 times. Hannity and Combs had them on 39 times. O'Reilly, like about 15 or so times. So it's amazing how you have 2 shows that have hyped these guys before, and now you're saying, well, they're so racist and vile.
Let me get.
You have them
Howard,
as guests.
Last word, Jim Garrity.
Why?
Can I just point an irony of this case? The new Black Panther Party is pretty strongly opposed to Obama. They think he's too moderate. They think he's a sellout. And this was in a majority black ward in North Philadelphia. They were basically intimidating African-American voters who would have voted for Obama.
Interesting point.
I
got to wrap it up,
Fox
guys.
News is coming to the aid of people who wanted to vote for Obama.
Oh, no.
I got to wrap it up, guys.
Stop.
You can take this outside. You can take this outside. Thanks very much.
That was cute, but so false.
Thanks very much.